1, 2. And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down the words. How wonderful life is when you're in the world. One time in New Orleans, I was with Randy and Donna, and we were actually all having a good time, and we were taking a cab back to the hotel. And we started singing it in the cab, and we kept singing it all the way into the lobby of the hotel, just driving people crazy. Well, actually, this is New Orleans.
It's New Orleans, so who knows?
Yeah. Y'all could probably tell that unlike Mark, I don't really prepare a whole lot for these things. So Mark's got more background on these guys than I do. And this is even weirder. I didn't track it down. I would love to hear it. We're going to be playing all of our songs after we finish this show. I cannot remember a single word from the verses. All I got is the chorus.
Interesting.
One hit wonder, LeBlanc and Carr. And the song is Fallen.
Wow.
Now, you tell me something about LeBlanc and Carr. You knew their first names. And I had no idea.
I want to say, I don't know if I'm right or not. I think it was
Muscle Shoals.
Muscle Shoals, absolutely. It was Lenny LeBlanc and Pete Carr. And I think it was Pete Carr who, if it wasn't him, it was the other guy. Lenny.
Yeah.
But I think it was Pete Carr who played the lead guitar part that kicks off a wonderful Bob Seger song we love, Main Street.
Again, I'm riffing, but the thing is, a great chorus can lift anything into the skies, right? And so, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling. And that may not even be right, okay? But it hangs in my memory as like the platonic ideal of the falling in love experience. You know, there were others, baby, baby, falling in love. I'm falling in love again. There was lots of falling. Yeah, lots of falling.
Almost
what was that?
Hamilton, Joe Frank, and
Reynolds. Not four people. Hamilton,
Joe Frank,
and Reynolds.
Contact the law firm of Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds.
Absolutely. Yeah, you in a wreck, you get a check. Maybe when I hear it again, the spell will be broken. Mm-hmm. But it still just sort of hovers in my imagination as the ne plus ultra of a chorus for a song about falling in love.
All right, well, my turn here. My fourth selection, number 2, if we're moving up here, was a number 9 hit in 1974. Interesting thing about this song, it was posthumously released. And I noticed here's something about all my selections. They were all pre-1975. So maybe that tells me something that maybe before the decade got too silly and too disco-y.
Yeah.
That's why all of my love songs are coming maybe earlier in the decade, possibly. Right. But
except for like Cruisin'.
Oh, well, Smokey Robinson, yeah. But you cannot think of this era without thinking about your singer-songwriters.
Right.
And as my cohorters mentioned before, there in the early 70s, there was scad loads of singer-songwriters.
Hordes
of them, like locusts. And, everybody, before the expression became, I'm on team, whoever. Back in the early 70s, this is going to be extremely presumptuous. Please slap me. Feel free to. But
only if you have to.
But I think it was my impression, at least, that particularly women in the early 70s your singers, your sensitive singer-songwriter, that was a precious thing, and who your favorites were. Now there were women who were on Team Fogelberg, or Team Jackson Brown, maybe Team Gordon Lightfoot, maybe Team Cat Stevens,
Team Hill,
Team Dan. This was a song by, I think, out of all of the early singer-songwriters of that time, I think this guy had probably the most street cred, I think. At least that was the impression that you kind of got from him. And I'm talking about Jim Croce.
Oh, well, I've almost thought you were going James Taylor.
You thought you could be on
out.
Team James Taylor, which is a perfectly fine team to be on.
Yeah.
And I almost had a JT song on my file. But no, my song from Jim Croce, I didn't go with Time on a Bottle. I went with I'll Have to Say I Love You in a Song.
Mm-hmm.
Simple and repetitive, but just so
hypnotic,
sincere, just plain spoken, and you would, in just exactly the way you would imagine the origin of the song would be within the song is exactly how it came about, and I'd like to share it a little bit.
No.
Before I could get into some early Croce history, but he met his wife, I think Ingrid Jacobson, met in the mid-'60s. That he met her at a hootenanny that he was being a judge of. He was in the South Philly area. He graduated from Villanova, toured overseas, places like Africa, Yugoslavia at the time. Came back, struggled, went to New York, tried to find odd jobs.
Working at the car
wash blues. Was a welder, worked in construction, listened to the stories of characters in the South Philly area. You Don't Mess Around with Jim, Bad Leroy Brown. You've heard the songs. But this was towards the end, just not long before his tragic death in a plane crash in September 1973.
Oh, baby.
But they were coming out to do a film crew of about 15 or so were coming out to the house where he and Ingrid lived, and he sort of neglected to tell her that a big film crew was coming. And so here they are, honey. And
here's the film crew.
The film crew of 15's here.
Porno in here?
Yeah. So she said, okay, I'll whip up something together to feed this crew of 15. So she had the main meals. And then after said, Jim, we got to talk. And they got into a talk about finances, which they were struggling with at the time. And Jim didn't want to talk about finances, and stormed out of the bedroom and went out to the kitchen and brooded. And the next morning, according to Ingrid, she woke up with Jim on the bed with her, playing the song that he had written, while he was brooding at the kitchen table.
That's how it's done.
That's kind of how it's done. Of course, a singer-songwriter would write a love song saying, I have to say I love you in a song. So that's why it just captures the era of the whole singer-songwriter era of that early 70s period. So, rest in peace, Jim Croce.
Yeah.
From the heart. It was all from the heart. Even when he was being ridiculous, it was from the heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, and by all means, pick up the late 70s Jerry Lee Lewis record where he does his version of Bad Leroy Brown. It will blow your freaking mind.
Okay, well, I just wanted to. We know
the fans are not going to see it until we're dead.
There were scads of others that I didn't hope I didn't offend any other teams out there. Yes, I know we didn't mention Neil Diamond and scads of others. But
Longfellow Serenade, though, really?
Well, I am.
Some wonderful songs. I'm not knocking them. When Wallowitz and Amy sing them together on Big Bang Theory, classic. Okay, I'm all there. What is the baseball team that has Sweet Caroline?
Oh, the Red Sox.
Okay.
Now it's a bar staple.
That's fine. Knock yourselves out.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Go for it.
Me, I prefer the early Diamond, like Cracklin' Rosie, Holly Holy.
Red Wine.
Cherry, yeah.
I'm a believer.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, wrote that. Wrote some Monkees hits.
Monkees were may have been constructed, but they smoked some great songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds wrong.
Smoking some great songs.
Actually, probably also
Uh,
It's silly.